welcome you all to the first battery spotlight event of the year. The first minutes people still need to come into this event, and so I want to use this time to introduce myself, my network, but also my co-host. And yeah, let's start with this. So what is TraWeBa? For all who don't know the TraWeBa network already, a really quick explanation. We are funded by the German government, the Ministry of Economic Affairs, with the goal to support companies along the whole battery value chain in the transformation process. My name is Maximilian Wagner. I'm the network manager of this TraWeBa network. And at this point, I want to introduce, welcome, and thank my co-host and collaboration partner, Simon Voss. He's the managing director and founder of the battery company. And Simon, please quickly explain, what are you doing? What is the benefit you can offer?
Yeah, thank you, Max. I was invited by TraWeBa and Max to co-moderate this event because I'm traveling for about 10 months now through Europe with this little van that you see up there, and you probably have seen it on LinkedIn, to understand the competence that we have in Europe, exploring it on site with the videos that we generate and the podcast discussions, and therewith really build a dense network to foster and support collaboration in our space. And yeah, I'm bringing in a little bit of the insights that I get on the tour, and as I said, co-moderate this event with Max. And welcome, everyone.
Thank you very much. And why are we setting up this event? Why are we doing this every month? We want to give you an overview what is happening in Germany, what is happening in Europe, and help companies to get visible. With their pitch, they will hopefully spark interest in their approach, in their innovation, in their companies. And if you're interested in these speakers, please use this opportunity to connect themselves with them, to reach out to them. And then if you see a common ground, start collaborating, because we have to transform the image you can see on the left. Europe, but every country has their own battery ecosystem. To transform this through collaboration to a joint and working together battery ecosystem in Europe. And with this, I want to move over to the interesting part of this event, our speakers, our pitchers. And I will just give you a quick overview. First, we will hear about lithium metal and lithium sulfur batteries made in Europe for Europe. We will then have the topic of battery packaging for transport and storage, and move over to advanced materials for the next generation batteries. Followed then by battery manufacturing equipment, which is reconfigurable. This might be also very interesting for all of the participants joining from research groups from universities. And then last but not least, we will discuss the problem of PFAS. I think everybody's familiar with that problem, and a company which is offering PFAS-free materials for batteries. And yes, with this, just a short disclaimer, we are connecting this whole event, so you can also look it up later. We will send the recordings through a follow-up email as well. And after the 4-minute pitch of the speakers, there will be a 4-minute slot for the discussions. So if you have questions, either put them directly into the chat, or after the pitch, raise your hand, and if I call your name, unmute yourself and ask the question directly. With this said, I want to introduce Ida Milow, founder and CTO of the company Alteva. I just met her last week at the Battery Forum in Berlin. She gave a really inspiring presentation about what the company is doing and what they want to achieve. And Ida, with this, I'm really looking forward to your pitch, to your presentation, and the stage is yours.
Thank you, Maximilian. Yeah, great to be here. Hello, everyone. I'm also going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see the presentation. Let me know if that works, but should be fine. Okay, perfect. Then yeah, let's get started. I'm Ida. I'm the founder and CTO of Alteva. And at Alteva, we build the future of batteries. For us, that means next generation batteries made here in Europe. And to start off, let's just remind everyone here in this call, we're all working on one of the biggest engineering challenges of our time. Like, we're developing materials on a molecular level that have to work on a microscopic scale, but at the same time, we want to produce billions of batteries. And to be honest, I think that's a pretty cool topic to be working on and challenge to be tackling. So that's really what we want to do at Alteva. So what we do really is we take these next generation battery technologies and make them scalable. Basically, take what we have in the lab now and then step by step go into larger scale production until we reach these gigascale factories. Because that's really what we think we can make a difference on here in Europe if we have domestic battery production again. And the kind of technology we are looking at for these next generation batteries, especially lithium-sulfur batteries. I'm not sure how many people here are familiar with that technology. There are quite a lot of advantages to using lithium and sulfur as the chemistry of batteries compared to current lithium-ion batteries. The first one is around materials. We actually have materials that are very abundant and available. Sulfur is one of the most abundant elements in the world. It's a waste product in a lot of industries, so it's cheap and easy to get, also here in Europe. Lithium is also not that much of a problem. So all the things we can get basically here in Europe, lithium, we have to open the minds, but this is possible compared to, for example, sourcing cobalt from Congo and so on. We don't need that anymore. The second big advantage of lithium sulfur is that they're only 1/3 of the weight of current lithium-ion batteries. So all the applications where weight is crucial can massively benefit from us using lithium sulfur batteries. And those of you who are familiar with lithium sulfur probably also know the challenges why we don't see that in the market yet. And that is mostly around the lifetime of these batteries. So lithium and sulfur right now can only last like maybe 50 cycles if you're lucky in the lab. There are some developments going on, but what we really have developed and what makes the difference is that we have a cathode material that stabilizes the sulfur in a way that we can make it last hundreds of cycles to really make it competitive to lithium-ion batteries. And that's our core competence. So what we do at Alteva is that we have this cathode material and we produce batteries of these next generation batteries at scale. So basically from lab scale all the way up via prototypes to now pilot scale production that we're setting up at the moment, up to step by step onto gigascale. And with our competencies being around the cathode and production, there are also some other aspects that we basically, also use the network that we're building here in Europe for competencies around, for example, lithium metal anodes. So we're working a lot on lithium metal batteries as well, just to get the handling done and so on, because there are really not that many people who can actually build lithium metal batteries at scale. And that is the know-how that we're building at Alteva to really get these next generation technologies into large scale. Because let's be honest, like there isn't much of a case for us to compete with China on prices for LFP batteries and so on. So if we really want to build the future of batteries in Europe, we need to focus on these next generation batteries. And that's what we do at Alteva to really make that happen. So if you're interested in supporting us, be it if you're like best talent and want to support us in building this company, if you have a great material, be it an electrolyte or a separator that could be interesting for our technology, we are always also looking for collaboration partners there. Or the last part definitely is like, if you want to support us in funding this kind of new next generation production infrastructures, please reach out. We're looking forward to working with all this network that we have here in Europe to really make that happen. So looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and perfectly on time. That leaves us a lot of room for questions. As I mentioned, if there are questions from the audience, put them in the chat, raise your hand. We have already one question in the chat. Michael, if you want, unmute yourself, ask the question directly. That's always better than me reading it out.
No problem at all. Hello all. So I'm in the field of clean room technology and building fabs for production of batteries. Therefore, my question is, if the production of lithium sulfur batteries have different needs for the environment, for the production environment, is there another dew point or another level of cleanliness, or is it with another atmosphere?
Good question. Like I'd separate like the requirements out for cathode and anode. On the cathode side, our material actually really is a carbon sulfur composite, So no materials that are at all like sensitive to moisture there. We actually use water-based coating systems on the cathode, which also makes scaling much easier. On the anode, we use lithium metal technology. So there we have kind of the same requirements as any lithium metal battery. So dew points like at least -40 definitely is what we need to build the battery cells.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Maybe also a question from my,
Yeah,
if I may.
go ahead.
Just curious. Amita, can you elaborate a little bit on the technological status that you're in? Are you rather on lab scale still, or are you piloting? Like, where is your innovation path going right now?
So at the moment, we're kind of like prototyping in the lab still. So our current production capacity is around 40 cells a week, what we can do if we max out our production infrastructure right now. But we are also right now already in the planning phase for our pilot production, which will be more in the vicinity of 200 to 300 cells a day, which we are setting up, basically middle of next year. That should be operational. So that would get us like in the middle one-digit megawatt-hour range to like start scaling production. As I said, we have the step-wise approach. We're not building the gigafactory right away, and so we have this pilot facility coming up, and then basically scaling every 2 years, factor 10 to 20, to really get that production know-how on a path to large-scale production.
Okay, yeah, I gotcha. Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, maybe especially since our next speaker will talk about transport and storage, could you maybe comment? I mean, if I, as a chemist here, sulfur, it always like flammable reactions always pop into my mind. Could you maybe comment on the safety, especially for like the transport applications of your battery system?
So sulfur has one advantage over lithium-ion batteries, that we don't have oxygen in the battery cell. So if there are internal reactions happening with the lithium and sulfur still react, they release energy, but it's not as explosive in reaction as you would see in a lithium-ion cell when you have the lithium metal actually reacting with the oxygen that is released from the cathode, which makes the batteries inherently safer than lithium-ion batteries. So like a lot of these safety certifications and so on are a little easier to get. So like I wouldn't say they're perfectly safe, but they're definitely improvements over lithium-ion technology. And then we're also, for example, looking at non-flammable electrolytes, which can even improve the safety further, to make transportation and so on even easier.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I have to say, very interesting technology. I hope that the scaling up and the piloting phase will go well. You already said with your call to action, you're looking for a lot of different partners helping you. Maybe a quick comment on the investment part. Are you actively looking right now for investors, or are you set quite now for the future?
We're basically preparing our next financing round at the moment. So the next step will be financing the pilot facility. That will be classical venture capital for like the startup financing, but we're also looking at grant options and debt options. So getting all that financing together to set a production like that up. That's what we're working on at the moment. Yes.
All right. So to all participants who has some money lying around, contact Ida. And Ida, with this, thank you very much for your pitch. We are moving to the next speaker. And Simon, please introduce him.
Yes, Max already kind of pitched it a little bit. It's about logistics. And I think, David, we met at the Future Battery Forum last year, where you introduced me to a very interesting endeavor that you're going on, and that is the logistics of battery cells and the innovation that the transportation has. I don't want to mention too much right now because this is your pitch. And with that, yeah, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. You can hear me well?
Yes.
Very good. So let me share the presentation and I will get going soon. Great. So our vision is to create a world where the transportation and storage of batteries is safe, smart, and efficient by providing an innovative packaging solution. Pictures like these inspired us to do what we do. This is a recycling facility in Austria that almost burned down completely due to a malfunction of a battery last year. The underwriters' laboratories count about 16,000 incidents since 2010, with a very strong increase since 2020 due to electromobility and the increased use of especially lithium-ion batteries. I don't want to question the battery technology. Don't understand me wrong. So I'm really convinced that batteries are the future, also in Europe. But I believe that they have to be handled with special care due to the complex regulations, due to the risk of thermal runaway, the expensive handling, and the tedious documentation that comes with dangerous goods of Class 9A. We, as a packaging provider, put a lot of thought into the needs of a growing industry. Therefore, we identified that cell manufacturers and pack manufacturers have a very strong focus on cost when it comes to packaging. Recycling facilities focus on safety and compliance. End users, logistics providers value safety and convenience, and battery testing labs also want to monitor the state of the battery during storage. Governing bodies and insurance companies have a strong interest in reducing the risk and increasing safety, and also they want to foster digitization along the entire supply chain. To come up to all these needs, we developed the following portfolio. We have our Loki pack that comes in different sizes and different variants based on the size requirements you have and also on the ADR requirements. We can cover everything from low risk to high risk transportation. The Loki bag is our inner packaging that is made of our self-developed material that absorbs thermal energy and therefore reduces further the risk of thermal runaway. Lokistix stands for Tailored Engineering Solutions, which is tailor-made to a specific battery geometry and therefore is made to reduce costs and increase the efficiency for battery cell or module manufacturers in large scale. All our solutions are made for all modes of transportation and for storage, for all use cases of batteries from new to critically defective, and all of them can be enhanced with our digital assets enabling alerting, monitoring, and digitization of shipping documents. What makes us unique is our innovative material that is built into our inner packaging that absorbs a certain amount of thermal energy passively and therefore reduces the risk of thermal runaway. We enhance all our products with digital assets, enabling an alerting and also providing continuous condition monitoring in order to enable a quality inspection. Also, we have a systemic approach that combines customization and configuration, and therefore our products can be used for both transport and storage. So we can reduce the cost of warehousing, also of automation and of industrial cleaning. Our business model is a rental model where we want to rent the Loki pack for a broader audience and users and customers that have different requirements. We sell the Loki bag as an inner packaging and also as a standalone product to e-bike providers and also e-scooter providers. Lokistix is our project business where we work together with large customers that have a high demand of low-risk transportation. As I said, all our products can be enhanced and our digital assets are subscription-based. With this, we see a global market potential of reusable battery packaging of 5.2 billion euros. We will initially focus now on Europe, and what we can serve with our products is 756 million. With a realistic market share, we end up with 38 million by 2030. Behind all this is myself as a CEO and my brother as a COO, alongside with strong partners that range from university that helps us develop and test, and also automation providers. Currently, we're looking for investors that support us with a bridge investment that helps us then also to fund our seed financing that we're currently applying for. Also, we're looking for pilot customers, so feel free to reach out. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm curious if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, thank you, David, for your interesting presentation and overview that you gave. So, quick question to the audience, or just prepare your questions while I'll ask some. Let me start with the first one. From the customer perspective and looking at the European market right now, who are most interested in your services right now? Who has the most demand on having a guidance service in terms of safety, but also in terms of the digital assets? For the service that you provide.
We are in contact with a lot of companies that are responsible for transportation, for recycling especially. So It was brought to our attention that many of the customers or many of the logistics providers that are responsible for collecting the batteries that then go to the recycling facilities, of course, have to deal with different states of batteries. So they don't always know, are they new, are they used, are they broken, are they defective, critically defective? So there are a lot of different states the batteries can be in. And our platform suits them with a package or with a platform that fulfills all the requirements there can be. So this is one of the customer groups that we are dealing a lot of. But also on the other hand, we are in several projects involved where we're dealing with low-risk transportation, which is UN 38.3 certified batteries to large scale. Because this is also something that will be new in Europe. Today, a lot of the new batteries are transported with disposable packaging because they come in from Asia. But in Europe, there is a strong focus also on sustainability, on circularity, which is where the reusable packaging comes into play and where we can also provide them with a lot of benefits when it comes to automation. So the design of our industrial packaging is also made to decrease the cycle time. So for large-scale production, this is also a big benefit we can offer.
Okay, understand. I think if there's no question yet, I have one. There is one from Temple. So you raised your hand. You can answer the question if you like.
David, thank you very much for your nice presentation. I've just switched off my camera because of my internet ban, so I don't know whether it's capable of taking the whole picture, the whole images. But my question is, you talked about that most of the recycled materials that we use today in Europe, they come from Asia. My question to you is, your recycle, this is a Lokistix, are they also recyclable? Number one question. And the second question, if yes, of what material are these Lokistix made of?
So the packs are, of course, also recyclable. The outer shell is plastic material, and the inner material is kind of our IP, so I cannot disclose it here. But all of the packaging is, of course, recyclable. But in fact, it is meant to live for at least 7 to 10 years. So it is not meant to be disposed every cycle. It is meant to serve for at least 7 to 10 years and support the circularity that we will build in Europe in the next couple of years.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so thank you. Thank you also for the good question. Yeah, sustainability is key. And I think therewith we need to head on. And I give the microphone back to you, Max.
Yeah. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, David, for the very nice presentation. And with the next topic, we are staying with the battery safety, but we will look at it from a completely different angle, because batteries are only as good and as safe as the material you put in. And I would like to welcome Gregor Staerke from Gore and Associates to present how they develop material-based components for the lithium battery systems and how that can be improving a lot of different parameters of these batteries. Gregor, really looking forward, and the next 4 minutes and the stage is yours.
Thanks, Max, for the introduction, and I will share my screen. I will probably rush a little bit through the first pages to use the time on the latest technologies that we are in. So Gore is known for Gore-Tex. We are the inventor of the Gore-Tex membrane. We have 13,000 associates worldwide, and still one of the 200 largest privately held US companies. We did a lot of inventions and known for our culture. We're doing this in all kind of industry, from aerospace into to the body. And we are doing this with venting solutions where we believe there's a high potential for safety. Every enclosure that is sealed, from electronics, sensors, gearboxes, and more and battery modules, we have venting solutions and battery insulations that support in this area. And not only on the residential level or the C&I and grid level, we are doing this also in the automotive industry with some other product that we are having. So the main part that we're known for are the protective venting. So within the battery packs, power electronics or other sealed enclosures. If you're having fluctuating temperatures or changes in attitudes, this could create vacuum or excessive pressures that threaten the seal integrity of the enclosure. And for this, the pressure equalization helps to reduce the condensation in that sealed enclosures while keeping the solid and liquids out. So this is what we're known for. This is similar working like a Gore-Tex jacket. It's breathable, it keeps you dry, it keeps your system dry, and also your battery pack dry. So we have a kind of sample where you see one of the snap fit ventings. The latest version have a 3 times higher venting capability than the standards what you know so far. We are having this also in the big battery modules in the automotive industry. We are having different kinds, adhesive vents, weldable vents, snap vents, screw-in vents of all areas up to the big screw-in ones that we're using also for energy storage. But the latest concepts that we develop for safety are 2 concepts. One is the Gore burst vent. It's a combined pressure equalization vent with evacuation venting capabilities. And you all know the lithium-ion batteries. If they once enter a thermal runaway, the internal cell temperature rises, vaporizing the electrolyte and causing pack level gas pressure to rapidly increase. And this is concerning the highest safety hazards, what we've seen in the picture before. And for this, a reliable and rapid release of the internal gas is necessary to release the pressure. And for that, we have a new invention. This is a double functional vent. What you see here in the video is a standard vent that it's bursting if a certain pressure is reached. And there's also slow motion where you could see how the dome is building up, and then the vent is bursting like a burst disc. But this is not the disc itself, so the whole breathable layer is stick to the battery enclosure with 2 adhesive layers and a proprietary activation layer. This activation layer, this is bursting if a certain pressure is reached. So this benefit in using a dual function vent by having only one vent with 2 functions with a consistent activation performance, and you're having greater design freedom because of the low profile part with the smaller diameter and a lower weight. So this could simplify the design and reduce costs. So at the end, with reduced complexity and cost through a simple, reliable dual function vent, we believe that we could support here the safety in battery applications. And the latest version, what we are bringing to the market and what was the safety concept is the Gore battery insulation. This is the thermal protection, and this works when it matters most. So what you're having here is a thin material, 1 millimeter thick in standard, but we could also produce it in 0.5 millimeter thickness that has a low thermal conductivity at elevated temperatures, and it's stable under pressure. So it is not compressible, or the compressibility is really low instead of other solutions what you're seeing in the market. It's not particulating, so it does not require any kind of encapsulation. It's locally manufactured in all regions, and it's bondable. So what you could see here, the material is on a reel. It's a soft material. It's a composite out of an expanded polymer and ceramic. You see the flexibility, the highest precision. It's less than 100 micron thickness variability, and you could have it in roll goods for automated production processes. And to bring it on the last point, to compare it, why we believe it's helping to stop the thermal runaway propagation, this material has a different behavior compared what you having, for instance, with aerogels. So the material provides really the reliable protection on high temperatures. What you see here is a heat and trigger cell that is applying temperature. You're putting the insulation material in between and have a cold sink and the adjacent cell where you could measure the temperature too. And what you see, the temperature peak is not going higher when you use the right material. But the most interesting thing is if you compare it under applied pressure. So if the system starting with a thermal propagation, the pressure is increasing internally, so it's compressing the systems. So, and what you could see here that if you're using an aerogel, that due to the compression and it's getting thinner, the temperature is rising. And this is the big benefit of this material due to the fact it's not compressible. So you have an efficient and effective tool in large format battery cells with that unique combination of thermal performance and mechanical integrity. This stops thermal runaway propagation without sacrificing energy density. So you could bring more material in because of the thickness. So, and as last point, this is a picture of one of our partners that did a test. So they initiated thermal propagation at the middle cell. And in this design, the GBI is placed between every third cell with compliant pads for cell swelling in this case, and in the insulated junctions. So what you could see here, although the thermal propagation was initiated, this material stopped the thermal propagation at this point. So this was more or less everything in a nutshell. If you want to have more information or sampling or follow up, please connect with us. You see my contact data and also the product specialist, Greg Janatowski's numbers here in the chat. And I'm open now for discussion and hope I don't overspeed that much.
Well, you have been a little bit over time, but thank you very much for your insights. And I think since we are quite good with our time, there's still room for a question or two. Maybe let me start with the first one. You presented 3 different ways of improving the battery safety. Could you maybe rate them on the impact on the safety, let's say for preventing a thermal runaway, just for me to get an understanding how important each of these steps is?
So if you were in a standard mode, yeah, and you need the venting because of the different changes from temperatures and the pressure, and to avoid any kind of material that get inside or the humidity or liquids, then the standard venting is the standard what you definitely need in an encapsulated device. So this is the minimum what you have. If there's anything where you experience over time that the thermal runaway propagation or anything else could happen, or that tends to reach higher pressures, and you want to have a kind of safety device, then the Gore battery, the Gore burst vent will be the next step on top. And in the whole battery modules in between the battery packs, and you want to reach a high energy density, the Gore battery insulation would be then the final step on getting more safety to the system.
Right. Thank you very much.
If there's time, I would also like to ask something, because I'm intrigued by the second one, the second innovation you had. Is it a ceramic material, Gregor?
So the Gore battery insulation material is a combination out of an expanded polymer and ceramic material. Yeah, but it's combinable with other materials. So I don't know if you could see it. So this is, for instance, with rubber pads, we try to create any kind of composites. The material is usable with many other things. So.
Okay, but it's not applicable for mobile application because you specifically mentioned Voss, or?
Yeah, so it comes out of a direction where we have invention, also in electronics and mobile stuff. It's also it's a PFAS-free product.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you for the honest answer.
All right, yeah, I think with this, we move over to the next one.
Yes, this one circles back to my heritage, so to speak, when I was working at RWTH Aachen building the battery pilot line. a semi-automated one. And the innovation of Celerate reminds me of that time, because you're also in the domain of battery equipment manufacturing, in a reconfigurable way. So I would like to introduce Richard Fields to the stage. And yeah, Richard, please elaborate on what this means.
Hi guys. Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for the introduction, and thanks. I'm glad that you had a first-hand experience with the system I'm showing here. Just a quick introduction, because this isn't actually about our core system. I'm Dr. Richard Fields, the Managing Director of Celerate. We build automated equipment for battery research, and I'm going to be showing you some of the new pilot scale production equipment that we're making as well. In the work here we've developed, this is mainly traditionally for automating the cell assembly of coin cells and single layer pouches. So we've demonstrated that we can bring significant benefits to the research and development workflow of advanced materials, particularly with our new protocell format. If you're interested in learning more about that, contact me, but I'll show some more things. Particularly at this point now, I'm going to talk about the new equipment we're making and the type of market that we're exploring with it. This is around making batteries which fit the application. Currently, when you design or have an advanced or a demanding application, you have to make sure the battery is designed into it. You design around the battery. It's very difficult to get a battery that actually occupies all of the available space in the application. And everyone's looking for more power, more energy, longer lifespan. And the big challenge, and this challenge will persist until what I would say is the end of time, because you're basically, even if you develop advanced chemistries as much as you want, they are going to plateau at some point, and then you just have to fill all of the space that's available with the battery. So we're jumping to that end stage where you can start filling all the space with the battery. Currently, you can make them in cylindricals or rectangular cells, cuboid cells, pouch cells in this case. But we're starting to make cells of different shapes and sizes. And we're doing this at low cost and on demand. So effectively, anyone here can soon log on to our website and then be able to order a custom shaped battery on demand through a generative quoting system. And then we'll do the automated manufacturing in our new facility on demand effectively. So this is making sure that the battery can fit into the application, that you can use all of the available space. And potentially as well, for those of you who are developing new chemistries or wanting to demonstrate new chemistries, you can actually make a cell which on a pilot line fits into the application that you want to demonstrate it in. You don't have to show it on a shelf or in a cycling chamber, an environmental chamber. You can actually put it in the application and demonstrate real world performance with advanced chemistries. We're talking even in solid state batteries or lithium metal anode batteries, we can work with those as well. And to do this, we've started developing and manufacturing equipment for this. We're both building the equipment potentially for sale and building the equipment for internal operation. So we'll be learning and improving the equipment so that we can make the best batteries. But for organizations who want their own capabilities internally, we can also start providing for that. And this is small footprint, laboratory scale equipment that can build custom shaped batteries, and then we're building bigger systems down the road. Here you see the roll-to-roll electrode cutting system and also a stacking system. So yeah, generally that hopefully gives you some ideas and some inspiration of what Celerate can offer. It's mainly around automated battery research, material development, and now cell production. So we're looking for end users. We want people to reach out to us who are constrained by the batteries they have and want to put advanced chemistries into filling all the space that's available. But also those who are looking to demonstrate new cells using our platform as well. And it might be a route towards early adoption of those cells in low volume quantities where you can actually demonstrate it in the applications. So please reach out to me. Again, I'm Richard Fields. We're based in Manchester in the UK. We are in a range of European projects as well, so don't be afraid. Don't be shy. I know we're not in Europe technically, but we are. So yeah. Okay, that's what I've got. Thank you.
You certainly belong to Europe. I mean, the battery expedition will also hit UK at some point. So because there are many people and peers that I'm also delighted to talking to. Because UK big and there's so much going on. Also, I also had yeah, anyways, we don't have so much time, but because I have a question. You mentioned you also work on different chemistries. So are you also processing lithium metal with this?
Yeah, so we've learned from the core system that we developed where we're handling lithium metal already for making single layer pouches and single layer cells, and we've taken the same technology and applied it in the roll-to-roll processing. So we've handled lithium metal that's been deposited on copper foil, like 20 micron lithium metal usually. We haven't yet handled pure lithium metal. That's yet to come.
Okay, yeah, but interesting to note, because if we look down the road from the applicational point of view, I think aviation and things like that, or space are the fields where those free-form batteries would probably hit the market first, because performance matters way over the price.
Yeah.
So in that regard, is there a question from the crowd? Just to. Okay, so Max, you have one, I guess.
Yes, I have one. Thank you. Richard, very interesting. When I saw your first slide, I thought, yeah, cool, that is like a design for like laboratory research, maybe produce cells on a lab scale. But then after this, you mentioned that if I have an application with a certain need, of course, we are talking about niche markets, that's clear. But did I understood it correctly, first part of the question, that I can use your equipment to really produce cells for a real application? And if that is correct, could you maybe comment what is your production volume you can
Yeah, sure.
generate?
Sure. So yes, you can make batteries for real applications. They can be integrated into packs and modules and packs. We don't do that part here. We don't develop the BMS, but we can do that. We have partners for it. Currently, the volume is the production rate is about 1,000 cells a week that we're targeting for it. With reconfigurability under a day for different shapes and sizes. So we can turn it around quite quickly. This is leveraging a lot of advances in 3D printing effectively.
Okay. Yeah, Richard, thank you very much. I think this is an early topic that is emerging more and more within the next years. So we'll see how your company and the offers you make will grow. With that, I thank you for the presentation, and I think we head over to the next pitch. Max, would you like to introduce it?
Yes, I really would like, but actually I've one question left, just as a curiosity from a network perspective. And Richard, maybe if you can't disclose it, that's of course all right. But I like this idea of like helping of finding niche markets where you just can't use these really high scaled and very cheap cells, but you need something else. Do you have already customers using your application for exactly what you described there? And
we have
maybe which markets could be interesting for this application?
So we have trials with an eVTOL manufacturer where they needed a sort of like a trapezoidal shaped battery where we've built the cells for this quite early stage. But yeah, we're looking to scale this up throughout the next year, and hopefully we'll be able to show more with the partners we've got in the works. But it's interesting to find where the need actually is. There are so many unique applications, even across medical, aerospace. It's all over the place, like where you need a very specific shape battery, or the application is actually even enabled by being able to have a battery of that energy density or that power in there. Like you can do whole new things with this.
Yeah, thank you. I was thinking about like aerospace as well as a very suitable market niche for yourself. And yeah, I'm glad to hear that you're working on that already. Yeah, then it's already time to.
There's one last question, Max. Let's take this one as well. If they are working together with UK Big.
No, we don't. Do I have a motorcycle company? No, I don't have a motorcycle company. I can only imagine that might be one
How
up
did you do
in
that?
Finland or wherever they are. But we are working on technologies which I think will blow them out the water. We are working with the UK BIC. We have maybe 35 partner or customer sites across the world in Europe, USA, now in Japan, South Korea.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we've got. The interesting thing is that we have a lot of exposure to state-of-the-art technologies from our customer base, and so we can quickly take on pre-pilot production roles and put them into our systems. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, it sounds really, really, really inspiring. Okay, so I think the time demands us to head over to our last pitch. So
Yes.
Maximilian, your take again.
Thank you.
And thank you, Richard.
Yeah, with this, it's already time for our last speaker, and we will go now into the topic of PFAS and PFAS-free materials. And since our last speaker was not technically from the EU, this speaker is definitely not from the EU. The Amel company is founded and operating in America, but they are very interested in the European market since we have really strict and, let's say, also very useful regulations for preventing harmful materials. And yeah, so they are really interested in finding corporations, getting a foothold in this market. And we thought that is a perfect suitable for exactly this format to get visible in the European market. And yeah, with this, I want to introduce and welcome on stage Derrick Maxwell, the CEO of Amel Energy. And Derrick, I'm very interested in what you can tell us about how to prevent PFAS in batteries.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Max, for the introduction. I'm really excited to be here. This is actually the first time that I've represented Amel Energy in a European forum. So very, very excited, and thank you and for the warm welcome. As Max mentioned, I'm the CEO. I'm also the founder of Amel Energy. And we're all familiar with lithium-ion batteries. We might not all fully understand that they were made with toxic solvents and PFAS-related binders. So I founded Amel Energy in order to solve that problem in the simplest way possible. So the solvent is toxic. It's called NMP. A lot of us might know that already. It's used at scale, and the binders are synthesized with PFAs typically. So this is a PVDF-based binder. And regulatory commissions are increasing restrictions. So even over here in the States, the EPA still remains firm. Their determination on the toxic solvent is that it represents a, quote, unreasonable risk to human health. And my understanding is that the ECHA is also very strict on NMP use. And for PFAS-related materials, Europe seems to be pressing forward with banning or potentially banning materials that utilize PFAS. If there's an alternative available, we'll be looking at companies being pushed toward adopting that alternative on a time frame. And these materials are expensive. They're not likely to decrease in cost. And typically, this is a US focus, so they're not domestically sourced, and most of it's made in China. So our approach is that we are using a non-toxic solvent that's bio-based. It's generated from corn feedstock and biofermented. It's made in the United States. And that non-toxic solvent is actually paired with binders that are PFAS-free. And this avoids regulatory issues, fast-track permitting processes for new plants. And they're also reducing cost. So our solvent approach is 2 times cheaper, and the binder can be up to 10 times cheaper. So those instant savings could be realized by customers through a domestic supply chain. This is especially important for the United States right now. But we're very open in seeking that partnership with Europe. There's no issue in terms of exporting materials, and we're also looking into the option of setting up manufacturing sites in Europe to service customers. So to speak a little bit more toward the materials, the company itself is a materials company. We're not a battery company, and we're not focused on manufacturing batteries. We actually want to sell the solvent binder as a package to our customer, which is a lithium-ion manufacturer. And right now we're looking at a 2nd generation approach where we pre-combine our polymer and our solvent together to sell to the customer. We have future generations and novel chemistries we're working on. So this is designed to also be a true drop-in replacement for the cathode. And this doesn't require any equipment changes, so no CapEx is required to adopt our materials. And it's compatible with everything that can be put into the cathode. No coating on the cathode is needed, and any conductive carbon, CNT, carbon black can be used. We have two pending patents that are protecting this approach, and that's wholly owned by the company. We actually brought this to pilot scale. So we're coding here in the United States, in Massachusetts. Flagship university is University of Massachusetts. We have access to a roll-to-roll coder. So we've scaled to 1 liter, and we're able to show with industry standard equipment moving to technology readiness level 5. And we further were able to build pouch cells. These are 80 centimeter by 100 or so. They're totally NMP-free, PFAS-free, made with NMC811, paired with a graphite anode. And we had no major construction issues. We've hit our targets for the year. And we're supported by grants entirely. So Massachusetts has a clean energy center, and in New York State, they have the energy storage engine, which is funded by the National Science Foundation. We have our first signed letter of intent to supply Custom Electronics Inc. as our first customer, and that's a granted pilot that's funded. So we proved within about 6 months, going from coin cell performance parity against PVDF to pouch cell testing, that we're able to scale. And now we're looking at this pilot where we're working with the customer to introduce our materials into 18650 cylindricals. And what we're looking at is building out our R&D center, increasing our hiring, but we also want to accelerate the business development. This is where Europe is really important to us, because we want to be able to move from our established beachhead of DoD contractors in the States to be able to service European customers. And we think we're really well positioned to do that. We're supported by what we call the battery capital of the United States, and that's in upstate New York. Now, I wanted to pull attention to why this is important for Europe, because we're targeting entering European markets and working with customers between 2027 and 2028. Right now, we're focused primarily on the United States and looking at early adopters, but we're very open to working with any pilot applications within Europe. And the reason why is because the European market for solvent binder is going to drastically expand our ability to obtain revenue. So as I mentioned, our customers are lithium-ion manufacturers, and basically we're looking for anyone within Europe that is interested in moving away from PFAS and NMP. And we can show as a business model, 1 gigafactory, if it's a typical size, we can save 53% cost on materials, which would generate significant revenue for Amel Energy. And further, we actually reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 70%, which is really important, especially for reaching carbon negative and carbon neutral goals. And our team, we know, is primed for success. I'm the CEO and founder, as I mentioned, but I have 10 years of experience working at A123 Systems. And our CXO, 𝗕𝘁𝘁𝗿𝘆, he actually has started and sold his first clean tech startup before joining Amel Energy. With that, I want to thank you, open up the floor to any questions, and we'd be really happy to meet with you.
All right, thank you, Derrick, for your question. There are already 2 questions in the chat, but maybe let me start with a hopefully very quick one. From my time in the research lab, I have to say PFAS materials in general are amazing regarding their properties. Yes, they are harmful, that is a big disadvantage, but my question is, how do you rate the quality or the performance of your solutions compared to PFAS, just focusing on the properties?
Right. So one thing that we are doing, and we have succeeded in at the bench scale, is fundamental studies of our binder and our solvent, how it affects mixing and coating operations. We use rotational rheometers to be able to measure viscosity and changes to flow patterns. We're using industry relevant slot die equipment, 6 inches wide, so we know that it's coating well onto the foil and we have no drying issues. So we're looking at, as a materials focus, making sure that a manufacturer could rapidly adopt the material. On the flip side, we're looking at the cell results. We just had the pouch cells built and tested, so we're looking at that data right now. But we do have parity in terms of PVDF, so we're able to get the same energy density, the same efficiencies, and we're looking at the cycling performance right now.
Then the first question we have in the chat from Christoph Ziara, he wants to know, do your solvents also target electrolytes?
Not right now. Our focus is solely on the binder and the carrier solvent for processing slurry.
All right, and then just a follow-up question from Christoph, is your technology based on CCU?
No.
Maybe, Christoph, you can elaborate what you mean with CCU for the audience.
Hi, everybody. So it's using carbon CO2 as a feedstock with a catalyst to produce actually the material that you're looking for. So in this case, solvents, for example, cyclic solvents, or as a feedstock for electrolytes, which could be a precursor also for solvents like MEOX, which can also replace NMPs. I agree with Derrick that the replacement of NMP is a key, and it's very important for building up a consistent battery manufacturing at scale.
Thank you, Christoph. Yeah, so our feedstock is actually, so we get the solvent from a supplier, and the way that they manufacture it is from corn, and they do a bio-fermentation with bacteria. It's a very efficient, low energy process, and then they just filter it. So it's it's a renewable source.
Perfect. I'll be back to you. I have a very nice sauce for you for that.
Great, thank you.
Perfect. That's what this
I saw another
about.
question in the chat about sodium technologies. I wanted to clarify, yeah, our approach, the reason why we chose to go a non-aqueous route is that we wanted the flexibility to stay as an organic solvent package and be able to service any type of cathode, whether it be sulfur, sodium, anything exotic we're willing to look into. And we believe that, you know, this might be an easier way to go than going with some aqueous solutions that need pH balancing, that can experience gelation problems. And I understand that sodium can have that issue, so.
If you allow, I have one final question, a short one. Does your solvent always come with a binder as a system? So you always have to regard the binder with it in the application, or can you also use standard binders in this regard?
That's a great question. So what we've done is we've screened several different compatible binders. So one of the catches is because of our solvent change, we're not able to use PVDF. So a customer would need to change to a different type of binder. But we've identified several chemistries and families of polymers that are soluble. Our future looking approach is actually emulsion-based polymers. And in that case, you can use basically any chemistry that you would like. That would be a nanoparticle suspension. So now we're looking at point-to-point binding within the electrode microstructure. We believe that could actually, go ahead.
Sorry.
I was just going to say that could potentially even boost performance due to improvements in ionic conductivity.
Okay. Completely clear. Thank you. Thank you, Derrick.
All right. I think with this, and today perfectly on time, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank our speakers for their very interesting impressions of what their companies are doing, how they want to bring their innovation into the market. I also want to thank all of the listeners, of course, for participating, for actively asking questions, for showing the interest. And we all hope that you learned something, that you made some connections. And with this, I wish you all a very pleasant afternoon. We will see each other again, hopefully, next month at the 26th of February, same time, 4:30 in the afternoon. And see you then next month. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Also, thank you from my side.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.